maybe I should. I'll plug the Patreon for that. If you guys want to hear a pretty spicy Patreon story, or a pretty spicy story, please go to Patreon. Deb and I talked about something over there that we can't talk about publicly. It also involved, she told me that she was big on 3D Doritos. And she told me a story about a guy she was dating that got her 3D Doritos like from Mexico. And I was like, this isn't appropriate. I don't ever want to hear about this again. She's like pregnant with my child and telling me about it.
Okay, I have a theory about this, which is that any snack you have a memory of that's like from the past is like, I think your brain gives it more credit than it deserves in the past.
Yeah,
like there's something, this, I felt this way about, what was I going to say? Fuck. We got a bunch of Girl Scout cookies and I had that feeling with them where I was like, I remember thinking Thin Mints were like incredible and they're good, but like, they're also small and crumbly and like they taste faker than I remember. And
Interesting.
I don't know. I still think they're good, but like, this is off. Are we going, by the way?
I just hit the record button and I was like, let's see where I always edit the beginning. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Here is one thing that I will throw out. Have you had Tony's Chuck-a-Lonely bars before?
No.
They're huge. They're like, my theory, if you see them, get them. The orange one and the green one are really good. And my theory is that they are proportionate to you as an adult the way Hershey's bars were when you were a child.
Okay.
Like, when you get a Hershey's bar now, it feels almost like thin and small. And it's like, the Tony's Chocolonely are fucking chunky. So it feels like you're a kid again.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with movies though, because I've been looking at movies on Disney Plus, and I've been revisiting movies that I watched as a kid. And you watch them now. Well, first of all, have you seen Blank Check lately?
No, I watched it so many times as a kid, though. I think Blank Check and Richie Rich was my double feature.
Richie Rich was good.
And that's so Jewish.
Yeah. Right. Well, hey, you got to learn. You got to learn young.
Yeah.
Did I talk about this on an episode? My uncle, who's very like anti-religion, is like, he was like, Jewish kids don't grow up believing in a bunch of bullshit like Santa Claus, and they're very well adjusted. Okay, I did say that 2 episodes ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
I do think it's a nice compliment that I wasn't anticipating getting. So
yeah, right.
I don't know. I also read a thing this morning about how like Orthodox Jews in Israel are having like their funerals look like fucking mosh pits, and so I don't know if we're that smart.
Right. They're doing it in Brooklyn too. It's I don't know. But I watched Blank Check, and I just kind of like had it on. I mean, I saw it as a kid. I don't know if I saw it like in its entirety, but have you seen it recently?
No.
So it's like, the premise of the movie, it's like this kid, he gets a blank check, so he gets a bunch of money and he gets a bunch of like toys delivered to his house, and it's like, oh, cool. And but when he goes to the bank, there's a lady who works at the bank who's the teller, and she's like really hot, and she turns out to be an FBI agent. So she's kind of like sort of like this kid's love interest in the movie, which I think has probably been played with before, like the kid, the hot lady, in 90s kids movies. Because
it's like, are you suggesting this is a plausible romance? He like has no dick yet.
Right. But when you're a kid, do you remember like I remember being into other kids, but I also remember like being kind of attracted to adults too. Like if you had like a substitute or something. And I think I remember when I would think about like adult women in my romantic, I think a couple times I did this, but when I would think about adult women in a romantic way, I wouldn't think about me doing anything with them. I would think about my dad. I would think about my dad like making out with them.
That's so funny. That's such a like Freudian fucking shitstorm.
I know. But
it's like LARPing, I guess. Like
yeah.
I don't know, or not LARPing. It's a role-playing game in your head where you can only like move sexually through the world through your dad.
Right.
Funny. Oh my god!
I know. I only did this like once or twice, but it's just. But
did you ever tell your dad?
No, no way. My dad is so Catholic. My dad's the most. I have a joke that I do about showering with my mom as a kid. And like about how like one day we just stopped showering together and I never saw my mom's tits again after that. I just got to look at my dad's dick in the shower. And I think he really like saw me do it on stage and like really didn't like it. And he was like, and no one in the audience liked it either.
Oh man, that's so funny.
Yeah.
What was that age? Do you remember?
Like first grade. Like what, the shower with my mom or
what was the cutoff when you don't get to shower with your mom?
I remember thinking the teachers were attractive in like first grade.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember thinking we had like a substitute teacher who was like way more affectionate. Like we just hadn't broken him yet is all it was, I think. But like he was just way more like caring and affectionate. And I was like, does this guy like me? And then I was excited about that because nobody else had.
What do you mean affectionate though?
Like I think when teachers get tired, like when they have to do it day in and day out, there's like a sort of like they like callous over a little bit and they're like, fuck, they stop thinking you're cute or funny or interesting.
Okay.
It's like the honeymoon phase is over.
Yeah. Right.
Even your teacher.
So he was like friendly. Yeah.
He was fresh. Yeah. He was wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I was like, wow, this guy is hot.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember my first grade teacher, Mrs. Migliaccio.
Whoa.
Yeah. She looked like a very like if you would Google, she had like a very like kind of 80s 90s haircut. Like she looked very like momish kind of. But then after a while, like I just after a few months in first grade, I was like, oh, this lady's like kind of got it going on. You know, like she looked like a mom, but then I was like, oh, okay. But then you see her. And then I think I had some dreams about her.
Is this the lady who did you have a joke about this lady?
I don't know. Why?
I remember it was a while ago, you used to have a joke about when the teacher you like gets married to some contractor and her last name changes.
Well, that was like that's middle school.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you think that you have this kind of connection with a teacher, like you'd like try to make them laugh and stuff, you know, and then they come back over the summer and their name is changed and their hair's different. You're like, what the fuck is this? Like, you're just like jealous, you know.
Who is he?
Your little 11-year-old heart just snaps in half. Yeah, who is he?
Oh, I remember. Was the name like Guga Gugats or something?
That's the new name. Yeah, the joke is like you have a teacher with a cute name, and then because we did have a teacher named Miss Lumio. I didn't have her as a teacher, but she was like the hot teacher, Miss Lumio. I've a lot of real whoppy schools I went to, but and then she got married. But I had a teacher named Miss Colella. So the joke is like you come back from summer vacation, you're like, oh, she's like, oh, I got married, and now I'm Mrs. Guga Gugats. Yeah.
It's such a good choice. Migliacci is kind of a Guga Gugats.
Yeah, right. Migliacciano. But I remember like my 8th grade social too. I was like, the 8th grade social is kind of like a big deal because there's dances in middle school. There's middle school dances, but then the social is like just for 8th graders. And they like hired a local DJ, like a DJ that I heard on the radio to like come and play records for us. I was like, oh, cool. This is awesome. And I remember spending most of the night just like chatting with my English teacher, Mrs. Hart.
Wow.
Yeah. And she was like, she kind of looked like Jen Psaki. She had red hair. And I was just kind of around and I was like, this is cool. I think I have a photo with her too. I'm like wearing I'm wearing all black.
Is your hand somewhere like inappropriate on her?
No, she's like standing away from me. She's like standing away from me smiling, but I was like, this is awesome. I didn't talk to any kids. I just like went over. I was just like, hey, you ever see that Mel Brooks movie where but anyway, so back to Blank Check.
Oh yeah.
There's a lady, because they played with that a lot in those movies. You know?
Right, like whoever was, it's all the Hollywood pedophiles were really inserting their agenda.
Yeah, yeah. But as a kid, you're like, oh, that's kind of normal because I'm attracted to, I find adults attractive. Actually, I remember when I was in kindergarten, there was this girl, Samantha Lippert, we were friends, and, we were like, she like lived in the apartments behind my house. So and then one day at nap time, she like showed me her ass, and she was like, she goes, I want to show you something. And she pulls her pants down and shows me her ass, and I didn't know what to do, and I fucking told on her. I feel really embarrassed. I told the teacher, I was like, Samantha showed me her butt. And she was like, Samantha.
Was
I don't
she
know
trying?
why I did that.
Well, it is weird. I mean, I think it's weird to see a random butt, and that's like maybe the
yeah.
I think a lot of people feel this way when you run into like a subway flasher or something, and there's just no one really to tell other than cops who don't care. Yeah.
Right. You don't expect to see it.
She must have been trying to make a move or something.
She must have been really putting it out there. There's just no subtlety. What if she's still doing that as an adult when she likes a guy?
Right. Like she just sort of wakes him up and is like, do you want to see my butt?
Yeah. She's like on a Tinder date at like Applebee's. She just, she hasn't learned any other skills on how to get a guy.
Oh man.
But anyway, so Blank Check, there's there's this like hot lady the whole time, and she works at the bank, and she's an FBI agent because she's watching the guy at the bank who's a money launderer, and then so she's also watching the kid because the kid's got all this money coming in, and it's whatever, and so then she becomes like a love interest. Like there's a scene where they run through fountains together. He takes her out to dinner in his limo. And it seems, pretty innocent, whatever. And then at the end of the movie, which I don't know why they didn't edit this out of the movie because it's very, very jarring when you see it. But he's like, how about she's like, yeah, you're a pretty cool kid. He's like, yeah, how about I take you on a date? And she's like, all right, give it, 15 years. And he's like 10. And she's like, or he's like, give me, 8 years. And she's like, anyway, they negotiate, and she's like, deal. And then they kiss on the lips.
That is so weird.
It's so fucking weird.
Wait, what's the age they land at in the negotiation?
That's what I'm trying to think. I didn't realize off the top of my head. I would guess like she goes. I think she says like, call me in 10 years. I think she says, call me in 10 years. And then he goes,
you'd be like 19 or something.
Yeah. And she's like, hey, I don't know. She goes, call me in 10 years. And he goes like 6. And she's like 8. And he's like 7.5. And she's like, deal. And they kiss on the lips. Like,
yeah, that's so weird. That's so weird.
Just some weird European director who's like, that was awesome, guys. Great take. Very good. I'm such a genius. We're really playing with.
Oh man. Yeah. Just this teacher who has to wait around until this kid goes through puberty. And God, it's so weird.
She's like on a date with a grown man, and he's like, you seem kind of distant. Is there something, everything okay? She's like, yeah, I'm just thinking about this 11-year-old boy that I made out with once.
He took me out in his limo. What do you have?
Yeah, he just took me to his mansion, and we went to his bouncy house, and played a live action version of Rock'em Sock'em Robots with his butler and his maid. We made them fight each other. It was just a lot of fun.
Oh my God. You know what's funny about that too is I feel like The Bachelor does all the same activities, but I don't know. Yeah, I remember thinking that having a butler was like the fucking goal when I saw that movie. Being like, I just want an old. Yeah, I was like, I just want an old man who respects me.
Yeah, do they even like exist anymore?
I think if you're mega rich, but it's like even if you're super rich, it's probably not the like traditional British butler. It's not like the remains of the day where it's like a man who devotes his life to the art of being a butler.
Right. Who's like, this is all I've ever wanted to do. I'm very good at it.
Yes.
But see, now it's like, it's weird because at least you think like that guy who was a butler probably made, I don't know what, like $150,000 a year, I would hope, you know, like.
And he lived in like a fucking castle. It's not a bad life.
And he lived in a castle. Yeah. And he was like, he was very high. He was sort of high up in the hierarchy of the house. Took care of the, I don't know. I don't think butlers take care of the kids or not, but.
I think my guess is that if I'm going from the old Britishy way, I think they manage the people who take care of the kids. Like the butler manages all the different wings of the castle that need to be tended to.
Right. They're like the head of the staff.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be a great birthday present. You just get like a butler for a day. Just an old British man to come to your 2-bedroom apartment and just, you know. Hey, do you rub my feet?
Stand there with a tray.
He's like, hey, you're like, hey, Jeeves, give me or whatever. Hey, Cadbury. That was Richie Rich's butler. Give me a foot massage. He's like, I don't do that, sir. No. I will not degrade myself touching your feet.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's blank. I'm trying to remember the difference between Blank Check and Richie Rich now. The stories have fused together in my head.
Yeah, so Blank Check is about a kid who like he's got 2 older brothers and his dad, and they have like a business, and his dad is like, "What? Someday you'll have your own money." He's like, when I was your age, I was out there washing cars or whatever, for trying to make $1. So like the kid has no money. He feels like shitty because he has no money. At the end of the movie, the dad realized. Then the dad is played by this actor James Rebhorn, who is like one of those guys that is in a lot of stuff. He died. He was in Meet the Parents. He played the other doctor dad in Meet the Parents. Anyway, like one of those actors who is in a lot of stuff. But at the end of the movie, the dad realizes, he's like, "Oh yeah, I was too hard on you. You got to like enjoy being a kid. I shouldn't be, whatever." And then so he gets a blank check. He gets a blank check and he buys himself a bunch of toys. So comes into money. And then Richie Rich is a kid Richie Rich is like I think it's just propaganda. I think it's capitalist propaganda.
They both kind of are. I mean, it's like the precursor to like MTV Cribs, where like you think the only version of a good life is if you have a fucking bouncy house and like a slide that lands in a bunch of pancakes or whatever.
And a 39-year-old girlfriend.
You need a staff of old people tending to you and a hot MILF to call your girlfriend.
just a 31-year-old really sexy girlfriend who comes over and you make out, and that's all you know. You don't even know what sex is. Yeah. So
you kiss on the lips, you share milkshakes.
Yeah.
That's romance.
Yeah. And that's it. It's really funny because they have this like weird connection in the movie where she's like into him, you know?
Is she really immature or is he really mature, or maybe
he's
neither?
Really mature. I mean, she's like she's got like a short 90s haircut too, like a,
Yeah, and he's managing like $2 million. So
and right away, and right away she's into him. He comes in to like cash a check from his grandmother for like $30, and she's like,
"Wow, this kid's loaded."
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so it's like very weird, but then it's funny because as a kid, it's like I don't remember my mom getting upset when we saw Blank Check and being like, "What is this?" It's like, "Oh, okay."
I feel the same way about so much of that shit. I guess like, I don't know, feminism wasn't really like on the table in a big way yet, I guess. I watched those movies so many times that clearly like my parents and my friends' parents didn't give a shit about any of this either. Yeah. Nobody was ever like, "Hey, this is illegal."
Right. I don't know. And now the left wants to cancel blank check.
How dare they?
Yeah.
They want the stimulus checks, but not the blank checks. These people.
And maybe some other Americans would like to receive a blank check where they can fill in the amount and they can buy toys and dinosaurs and a mansion of their own. What if Bernie just went off the rails?
It's a pretty decent Bernie.
We need to give every American a blank check, and everyone's like, yeah. And then there's like a revolt because he just becomes so popular, promising everybody a blank check. Maybe there's some 45-year-old man out there who never got rollerblades, so we could get him a blank check, and he can go to Toys R Us.
Over 99% of checks are blank, but that 1% has them.
I think we should go to their houses right now and kill them. He just goes senile.
Yeah, we should stab their bouncy houses.
And just senile Bernie becomes the most popular.
That'd be cool.
Have you noticed that Biden resurfaces? He's kind of MIA, and then I guess he did a town hall, and people were sharing clips of it, and he's like, "No, I don't support student loan relief." Like he's just sundowning, and then he just comes in to say something shitty.
Wow, no, I didn't see that, but I do feel like you're right. Like he has not been a super. I'm saying, so I'm like, he hasn't been a super presence. Yeah. He is definitely dying, but I also feel like it's still better than another 4 years of Trump to have a weekend at Bernie's situation.
Yeah.
Because at least the people around him are trying to do like the basic right things. It's not like it's all going terrifically, but it's like in a better direction at least.
Well, it's like when your
too
boss
much of an optimist.
Well, it's like when your boss is sick and can't come into work, and it's like, oh, this is cool. Let's order pizza. That's what it's like at the White House every single day.
He said he's not against canceling student loan debt.
But he's never around, and then he pops up like he's always because I think every once in a while they like drug him up, you know, they put him on drugs. So it's like they put him on drugs and trot him out there, and he's like, no, I don't support student loan relief. Next question. Fuck yeah, fuck you. Oh, you have a bunch of student debt? Why don't you go fuck yourself? It's not my problem.
There are a lot of fucking things right now. I did kind of enjoy. Did you see the thing Trump said about Mitch McConnell being an unsmiling political hack?
No, he released a statement. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a 600-word statement that was originally meaner than the thing that got published. But the thing that got published is like pure mudslinging. It's like it's as close to a roast as you'll get, I think, in politics.
And Mitch McConnell acquitted him, and Trump's still mad at him.
Furious, yeah.
It's pretty.
I like that he called him unsmiling. That's the word that keeps sticking with me because it's like, that's the problem. Like Mitch McConnell never smiles.
Right.
Show your teeth. Smile for us, baby.
Smile, baby. You know, you have a beautiful smile, Mitch, and we never see it. That's what's so funny is these guys need him so bad, and they're still getting bullied by him.
Yeah,
like somebody like
totally.
Lindsey Graham. Every time you see Lindsey Graham on TV, he just looks like he's so depressed. And he's like, look, here's the thing, you know, Donald Trump's the most popular Republican in America, okay? Because when Trump was running for president, he was like, this isn't right what this guy's doing,
right?
You know? And then Trump was like, yeah. It's just, I don't know. What can you say besides it's the party of Trump now.
Yeah, I just like watching it sort of eat itself. Like any moments, it's that like the enemy of my enemy is my friend thing, where you're like, I don't mind you going after him. But yeah.
He's like the only one that can really, I think, get to these guys. That can make them feel like just the fucking worms that they are.
Yeah. And so in that sense, I don't hate it.
Yeah, same. Well, today's kind of a bittersweet episode because, like I said, we had Emmy on as a co-host for 4 episodes, and if you've been paying attention, this is her 4th and final episode of the sit down. After today, we're gonna say goodbye forever, and that's it. I like this model. It's good. You know, like you get somebody and then you do a bunch of episodes with them and then you say goodbye. We had this with Tom Dakar. It's just like, okay, I guess are we ever going to podcast again together? But
well, now that we've established a rapport, let's tear it down and part ways.
Let's just and move on.
I thought you were going to say it's bittersweet because Emmy is here for a fourth time. I was bracing myself.
Oh, you ready to get roasted?
Insulted. Yeah. Ugh, 4 episodes. Why did I do this to my listeners?
People aren't into that style of comedy anymore, where you roast and bust balls.
That's too bad because I really enjoy that style of comedy. I love a fucking good insult. This is like the place where you can do it. But what do I know?
There's a comic who we were on a show together at Caroline's, and the crowd was like really like tight, and she was about to go on, and I was like, "Oh, this crowd's really tight, and it's going to be tough for you because you're not funny." And I just thought I was like, I thought that I was just like busting balls, you know, like I thought I was like bantering like you do at a show.
Yeah.
I guess she thought I was serious, and she just harbored it for like for months.
Oh my God. Well, it depends so much on if the person is funny, right? Like maybe she's insecure about it. I want to ask who it is, but I won't make you say.
Yeah, I'll tell you after the show.
Boy. Yeah, I do just miss, like, a good roast is love to me, I think. The other, like maybe 2 weeks ago, Sam J called me nerd ass Emmy, and I was like, oh, I love the pain of this.
You're right.
She's totally right.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of like it's like testing your armor. You know, it's like you make fun of people so that when you go, oh, okay, yeah, you insulted the thing that I'm insecure about, but it's actually okay. It's not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I also feel like the format of like actual roasts, like a roast as a show or whatever, is one of the places where you can get away with like overt racism and like ethnicism and whatever. Like you could call me any fucking thing you want in a roast as long as it's funny.
Bring up the Holocaust.
Yeah, all that shit's on, like fair play more or less. So that's special. Anyway. We'll never have a roast again. Nice comedy is all that matters now.
Well, I know, but you watch clips of roast, but back in the day, those roasts were they did them right because you would have it would be like Don Rickles and Richard Pryor and Dean Martin, they all like knew each other, and then they would throw like Ruth Buzzy up there, and she'd be like, "You all have little dicks," and then they'd be like, "Hey, get this ostrich out of here," you know? And it was like,
yeah.
So it was really mean, but they all, not to say it was perfect, but they all kind of knew each other. Right. And it was fun.
Right.
And then the Comedy Central roast just became a bunch of celebrities getting together who didn't know each other, have any connection to each other. So that wasn't fun. It would, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I worked on a couple of them, and they are fun, but the jokes don't land the same way when you don't have a history with the person.
Right.
Like people are more likely to just have their feelings hurt in some capacity because it's like, oh, this famous stranger I've never met is like, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that they were preserved in some form, I guess.
Yeah. I guess the good ones were the ones with like the ones that after Greg Giraldo died, they should have just canceled them forever.
Probably, but I'm trying to think who was very good. Martha Stewart is surprisingly good at roasts. Yeah.
I remember,
but
Jeff Ross.
I think she's like got that fucking evil streak. So
sure, she's out for she knows how to go for the throat. You know, Jeff Ross had a funny joke about Cloris Leachman one time, and he goes, Cloris Leachman's so old Shakespeare did her in the park.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so that's over. Because now, but actually, the one kind of silver lining of COVID is we don't see roast battles anymore because those were a little overdone.
Yeah. I feel like, well, those were usually, I don't know. I never participated in a roast battle, but I did feel like
yeah, that's smart.
I don't know. Yeah. Did you ever do it?
I did a bunch, yeah, and they're they can be fun, but it's a lot of writing for one night and then nothing, and then that's it.
Yeah. That's how I've been feeling a little bit about like Zoom shows and things these days. Cause it's like you get some shit together, you throw it out. There's nowhere to like refine it or like there's nothing to build toward right now, I guess. But yeah, I did a hot tub the other night and
nice.
Read a list of everything I've Googled about my dog in the 3 months that I've had him. And the list is fucking psychotic and it was actually very fun.
Oh yeah.
Can I read you a couple of the good ones?
Please.
Now that we're talking about this. One of them, I had a run of like searching for dog grooming gloves, dog grooming mitts, like pet hair situations, best vacuums for pet hairs. And then the search was, is it wrong to brush your dog in the park? And I thought that was kind of funny to reread. Because I was like, why don't I just take these gloves to the park and brush him there? And then I don't have to vacuum afterwards. Right. But it feels insane to just like have your dog up on a bench with like hair blowing in the wind. So
it's really tough, yeah, because my dog sheds a lot, and sometimes you start petting him and you see the hair start coming off, and you go, I guess I got to take care of this later.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, excuse me, ma'am, what are you doing? I don't know if you know the rules of the park, but
this isn't a barber shop, ma'am.
Is he good? Is he social?
He's awesome. Yeah, he gets along with everybody. But my Google searches are more a reflection of like my anxiety as a dog parent than anything about him. Okay, here I'll read you the highlights. There was a run of can dogs eat onion? Can dogs eat garlic? Can dogs eat onion?
But that's definitely no, right? Like onions, because I think onions, avocados, because I feed them. I mean, I'm at the point where I have to have a dish of treats when I sit down to eat dinner, because my dog will like sit next to me and he'll start pawing my arm. And now he does a thing where if I have food in my hand, he'll take his paw and he'll move my arm towards his mouth. If I'm eating snacks, he tries to bring my arm. It's really, really funny.
That is adorable. Yeah. And you're
Welcome
right.
to Dog Moms, the podcast for.
I could talk about this shit all day. I'm so basic. But the search was, can dogs eat onions? Can dogs eat garlic? Then my dog ate onions and garlic was the third one. And they can't.
Oh no, I was making a bolognese and I started sweating the onions.
Literally, we boiled a chicken in onions and garlic to make a stock. And then I was like, oh, let's give him the boiled chicken bits. And the essence of alliums got in there. And then he pooped a big black puddle on the rug. So it is poison. Okay, wait. Onions and garlic, that family.
Okay.
Here's another little run of Google searches is how to stop dog from chewing leash. My dog chewed through his leash. Chew-proof leashes. I did those 3 in a row.
Did he chew through his leash?
Yeah, I had to walk him on a steel cable for a little while, like a freaking robot prisoner.
We had a leash one time that just broke one day. We were at the park. The thing snapped off the little like lever, the clip thing snapped off the rest of the leash.
That's so scary. I mean, if that shit happens on a busy street or whatever, that's like you have to go sue whatever like Chinese company made you.
Yeah, you're right.
I know that sounds bad, but all the leashes I've gotten are from Amazon, and the company's names sound like just like jumbles of consonants, like they're all not words. And you're like, if I tried to find who owns this company, there's no one there. Yeah.
You call the customer service and you finally get through to someone in China, and that person is just like, they're eating lunch at their desk because they have to work like 12 hours a day, but their lunch has dog meat in it. And they're just like, oh, hello, what's your problem? All right, sorry.
No, it's your podcast, Mike.
No, it's a commentary on how hard Chinese people work. So you can't cancel me. You can't cancel me for that.
You can't cancel me. I'll cancel myself.
You're right.
This was one more. I will read you one more Google search from this list that I think is. It was, why does my dog? It's surprisingly dark. Why does my dog turn his back on me? And the answer to this, by the way, I thought he was mad, but they turn their back on you to protect you. They're like looking out. They're like scanning the surroundings. So
Did that happen to you? That's one of your searches?
Yeah. These are all my searches.
Nice.
I just went through my Google history and put in the word dog. So it brought up everything I've searched about him. And it turns out if they sit with their back to you, they're being loyal.
Nice. We actually live a block away from a dog park, which is like really, really nice. And so we go there a good amount. But we used to take him to like the dog park in Bed-Stuy, where it's a lot of like, you know, bigger dogs, a lot of rescue dogs. So you don't worry about him like bullying anybody. But now we live in sort of like a little bit of a neighborhood that's a little more, I don't want to say hoity-toity, but it's dogs that don't have his energy level. And I think he knows this, and he's been bullying dogs a lot. He's been like, whenever someone starts throwing balls, he goes to try to grab the other dog's ball. I watch him like he's got a ball in his mouth, and he'll go up to other dogs and like growl at them, like trying to start shit. So that's kind of funny.
That is funny.
Anyway, everyone has turned off the show at this point.
No, stay. Okay.
It's just, I guess your dog is never your dog's never as interesting to other people as it is to you.
That's definitely true. I think it's the same way with like kids and stuff like that. This is the sort of dinner party conversation where like your head floats somewhere else. You're thinking about that hot teacher that you wish you could be banging. Yeah,
as a first grader.
As a first grader,
that you wish your dad was eating out.
You wish your hand was up your dad's butt, puppeteering his mouth on your teacher's pussy.
Right. Well,
that's my fantasy.
Oh yeah, Dad, eat that pussy.
Fall in love. You two fall in love.
Yeah.
Because then when you guys get together, I'll be more attractive.
Exactly. Go on a carnival cruise together.
Fall so madly in love that I get cotton candy whenever I want.
Yeah. Exactly.
One of my neighbors, so I live in a building now that has like 30 or 40 apartments. And one of my neighbors bulk buys cotton candy, and it's always the weirdest box to see on the street. I want to know everything about this person.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know which unit it's coming from, but I'm like, who has a standing order, like a subscribe and save order for a giant crate of cotton candy?
It's probably just some street vendor it's like I don't want to say the person's ethnicity, but you know what I mean? It's probably like an old street vendor that just goes and sells it in the park, and he probably makes like $1,000 a day just selling cotton candy. And he lives in like a nice doorman building in your neighborhood.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. That's funny. It's funny to like learn, because I live in one of those buildings too. I've never lived in a building like this where there's a lot of people in the building.
Same. Yeah.
So you see the same people, and it's funny. It's because there's a Facebook group for the building where people post about stuff that's building related. A lot of them, they're just complaining about the lock on the door or packages. We've had a lot of packages get stolen. But then it's awesome when you need to borrow like a tool, or when you need something. Everyone's like, yeah, of course. You know, I'd lend out my stuff all the time, so that's really nice.
That's really nice. Yeah. I don't think my building has one of those, and not everyone in my building is nice so far. There are like 2 or 3 dogs that like try to eat my dog every time they run into each other. But there are also there's some nice people. I don't know. It feels weirdly very safe to have a ton of neighbors, even though like we're all supposed to keep our distance and blah blah blah. But like I don't know. I'm like, well, it'll take them a while before they reach my floor and kill me. Yeah.
Well, we used to live on the first floor in Bushwick and of a building. And Deb told me one time, she was like, you know, when you're away, like when you're on the road or when you're out of town, I lock this door. I lock the bedroom door. I put a chair in front of the door, and I sleep with a knife next to the bed, just in case.
I love Deb. I relate to that so hard. I think that's fucking correct, by the way. First floor living in New York City is terrifying.
It is, right? Yeah.
Anybody can just fucking, they can see him, they can climb in.
Yeah.
Like, I think I told you about this before, but there was a 3-week stretch many years ago where I subletted Dan St. Germain's apartment in LA, and he lived on the ground floor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jeez. I mean,
were you
I
okay?
Didn't know.
Yeah.
I slept with scissors next to the bed because I was like, this is the best I can do in here. But
yeah. Did he have one of those machines that you see at 7-Eleven that you push the button and chili comes out of it? I got this.
It was mounted in his shower where the soap and conditioner normally go.
I treat myself to something nice.
I lather up with chili and then I condition with cheese.
Yeah.
He had a lot of Irish Spring soap, I remember, and I remember being like, "Oh, that's like a men's soap. Like I would never choose Irish Spring."
Well, it's deodorant. It's what you wash yourself with when you're like 20 years old because it's deodorant soap, so you don't have to buy deodorant.
Fascinating. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I think you still have to buy deodorant.
So your building doesn't have like a Facebook group?
Not that I know of. I mean, maybe no one's told me about it, but I think everybody's just kind of doing their own thing.
Because it's nice when you live in a big building. You're like, okay, well, if a crazy guy gets in here, the odds that he's gonna pick 4E are very low.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, it'll take him a while to get up here. It's like an advent calendar, you don't just start in the 20s.
Right. I would probably go like third. You probably go third floor because usually when people pick A, B, or C, A, B, C, or D, they usually pick C.
Interesting.
So that's probably what.
That's like a SAT type thing, right? Like when you've got to fill in the bubbles, people just do all C's.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But our building has this Facebook group. And so like people post and stuff, and it's weird because there's a lady in the building that I've seen a couple times, walking her dog and stuff. And then I saw her on the street and she was talking about how like she had to dig her car out of she's like, "Oh yeah, we don't have a shovel." She's like, "This is our first winter owning a car. We don't have a shovel." And I got a shovel, which is nice. I like having that role in the building as I'm trying to I really am trying to sort of dominate this Facebook group by being the guy with tools.
You should get everybody on the barbecue group. Everybody in your building, right? Get them on BBQ grilling techniques, tips, secrets.
Speaking of, did you know people in Texas are dying because they're bringing charcoal grills in their house?
No. Oh, that's
Which
so
is a
sad.
shame. It's really sad. It's really sad, and it's
like also, drowning in queso. It's like you're just gonna die doing what you love.
Doing what you love, yeah. My dad died doing what he loved, smoking brisket for 18 hours in the house. But
that is so sad.
But it's crazy because it's sad. It's really sad because on every bag of charcoal it says like, warning, don't burning charcoal in the house can kill you.
And they're just not heeding the warnings.
They're not
it's
heeding
like, well, brisket can't wait.
Right. Or they're just so cold they're not thinking clearly.
It's not even, okay, you see I heard the story on the radio, I read the headlines, and then you see the pictures, and it's like, oh, there's like an inch of snow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble with Texas
people. No, I know.
People, but
no, of course.
It just doesn't look like a lot of snow.
Well, the power's out. So I guess that's why.
Right.
And they don't have shovels or snow blowers they're not. I mean, they're not used to it. They're not prepared for it.
And their shit's not winterized and whatever. Oh, it's more snow than I thought. I'm looking at pictures. It's more than I thought. But you can see the street through some of it.
But I think we've all been there where you're like, you're so cold and you're like, I'll just do anything to,
Yeah.
And they're bringing
but a fire outside would be totally good right now. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do feel bad for them. That's a fucking mess.
Yeah. But anyway, so there's somebody in my building that like I've seen her walking her dog a couple times, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, we got to dig our car out." She's like, "I'm nervous because we have to go in the city tomorrow and we're driving back, and I'm worried about parking and everything." I was like, "Well, just take my shovel." I got the shovel. I really am trying to be sort of king of the mountain in this Facebook group. I am sort of low-key trying to alpha everybody else in the group. All these like Brooklyn guys.
Oh, are they like tough, like long-time resident people?
Yeah, but they're like professional people, you know?
Okay. So it's like startup people, tech, like softies, hand people.
I don't want to say that, but that's what I am trying to embarrass all. No. I just want to be like the Hank Hill in the building who's got all the tools, you know?
I think that's an achievable goal for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a truck. I posted about having a truck. So I think I'm I have to say, I think I'm pretty popular in this group.
That's cool. Good for you.
Yeah.
Fresh community.
Yeah. But there's a lady who, so like I said, I've seen her walking her dog, and then she was like, oh yeah, we don't have a shovel. This is our first winter with a car. And I'm like, well, I'll leave my shovel outside the door, or just message me if you need the shovel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was like, she's probably going to message me. So I friend requested her on Facebook. I'm only friends with a couple people in the group. And I don't want to like, you know, but then I looked at her profile. And I'm like, this is too much information for me to have about this person, you know? Cause now I know where she's from, her birthday, where she went to school. I know what her likes are. I was just looking through like the pages that she likes. She likes like Barack Obama, you know, Elizabeth Warren, Fresh Direct. Right. But I'm just like, this is kind of weird. Do you think that's weird? I feel I feel kind of like bad about it.
No, I'm going to say it's not weird because you are neighbors. She is borrowing something from you. Yeah. Those things are not terribly personal.
Right. But I'm kind of jumping the gun on our relationship, I think. I don't know.
I think it's a fair transaction if she borrows your shovel. If you offer the shovel and she borrows and you become Facebook friends, fine.
If she borrows my shovel, I can look at her vacation photos from 2011. That's a fair transaction.
That's more personal. I mean, liking Barack Obama is like not it's not defining, but if you can see you know, how nice the Carnival cruise was.
Yeah. I'm like, ooh, you went to the Jersey Shore 8 years ago.
Oh, that's the other fun piece of Jersey news I read this morning is they're gonna use dynamite on the Trump casino on the Jersey Shore and just fucking blow the whole thing up.
That's cool.
Yeah, I kind of want to be there, but
yeah, that'll be a fun thing to watch on TV.
I hope somebody broadcasts it. I don't know if it's going to be.
We could go. We could go if you want. I mean, it's not a far drive.
I'm not opposed to it. I think it depends on what their plan is.
Do like a double date.
In my dreams, it's like one big mushroom cloud, but I have a feeling it's going to be like 70 small controlled explosions.
Like on 9/11. Yeah. It's going to look like the Twin Towers coming down.
It will. I mean, the dream is like, and that's the end, but it's, I think they'll probably do something to not disturb the neighbors so much.
Right. They're going to just do a quiet explosion.
Yeah. Yep.
Some lady comes out in rollers in her hair and she's like, "Can you keep it down? My husband has work tomorrow."
You're shaking the tanning bed.
Stop it. Have you ever been to Atlantic City?
Yes. I've done shows at the Borgata before.
Okay.
And I stayed there.
Yeah. Nice.
And I didn't know.
Did you leave the Borgata?
Much.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So I haven't been to like the boardwalk or like the, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like there's lots of it I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Is it worth the visit?
Well, my uncle Enrico used to go like every day. He went like twice a week to Atlantic City because he was just retired and his wife had Alzheimer's, and he would just put her in front of a slot machine with a bucket of nickels, and she would just pull the slot machine all day. And then he had so many, he was in like the club, so he had a bunch of points, so he'd always get a ton of like, he would get free rooms, but then he would also get like toasters and gifts and microwaves and just like stuff that the casino would give you as a gift because he spent so much money there. And it was all in his basement. Just he was all like hoarding it in his. And then he had a thing where he would steal towels from the casino. And so he would take bags of towels every time. He was just like addicted to stealing towels to the point where he had the maids like in on it. Like he had the maids at the hotel. I think he stayed. Yeah, he would stay at the Taj because he would be like, "Oh, stay at the Taj Mahal," and so he had the maids at the Taj Mahal bringing him towels for him to take back to Jersey with him.
Oh my God!
He was just like compulsively stealing towels, and I think he brought us down there one time, and we stayed there for a couple of days, and the maids knocked on my dad's hotel room door, and they were like, "These are for your uncle." And he had like bags of towels.
It's so funny because it's like those are such used towels. Like if they're like you can't wash like thousands of people's bodies off a towel.
Just like local politicians with like using them with their whores. Like
fucking those are the towel, like the way people use towels in hotel rooms, like it's worse than we could ever know.
I know. And we just had them at our house. Our house was just full of towels from the Taj Mahal.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Really getting one over on him. Fucking the system.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think one time my dad like forgot the towels and my uncle screamed at him.
That's so funny.
He was like, what's the matter with you?
Was he the kind of guy who would save all the sauce packets from Chinese takeout and like, keep a million little mustards and a million little duck sauces?
Yeah, I think so. He was like he was pretty cheap, but I guess he had like a bunch of money. He never paid rent because he lived at his mother's apartment. So he just like worked and never paid rent and then invested his money and had like, at one point he had like $1.8 million or something. But then, but then my aunt had Alzheimer's. So he spent all of the money on like care and stuff. I don't know, Yeah, it was a real shame that we didn't all get together and, do something about that.
Right. If only those towels had a resale value,
Yeah. If only those towels could have been wrapped around my aunt's head till she stopped moving. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Well, it's been lovely being your co-host for these 4 episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope your grandmother gets smothered to death by a very used towel. And
well, it's tough when someone's got dementia. When someone has dementia for that long, you just like, I think she had it for like 16 years.
That's a really long time.
Yeah.
To take care of somebody. And I feel like also that's the sort of thing I want to leave like a really elaborate will where I'm like, if it's like this, like when do you pull the plug? If it's this sort of condition, like don't break your backs trying to keep my fucking face clean or whatever.
Right, but you can't just like murder you can't just like take somebody out. But everybody kind of, I don't know.
The twilight of life.
Yeah. I told him because you ever hear that Dave Attell joke where he's like, if you drink wine and you think you have a drinking problem, you don't, you're gay. And he's like, no one wants to hear about going to the Pottery Barn or sailing.
God damn it. I really miss seeing Dave Attell tell jokes. Fucking shit.
For sure.
The other night, like 2 nights ago, I was like, Dave Attell has this joke about anal beads, and I can't remember what it is. And I Googled Dave Attell anal beads, and it's not one joke. It's like 6 anal beads jokes.
Yeah. You can just kill.
And they're all great.
Yeah,
he calls them the unholy rosary.
Yeah.
And he's like, what does it feel like to use anal beads? I'll tell you. It's like finding out there's no Santa Claus 9 times.
Can this be the rest of the podcast? We'll just quote Dave Attell bits.
That works for me. Yeah. I just wonder what he's doing. I feel like I'm bad at keeping up with people, and he's somebody where I want to just be like, what's your day like right now?
Yeah, he's someone, it's like, how does he function without stand-up comedy?
Yeah, it's like a fish in water for him.
Yeah.
Whereas we're doing just fine with that.
We're doing great.
I would say we're thriving.
Just the exciting world of Zoom podcasting. I love it.
Well, they say, I saw a thing this morning that said by July, that end of July, everybody should be able to get the vaccine no matter like what your deal is. And so there's a world where stand-up comes back by the end of this year. I'm trying to be optimistic.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
That's what Biden said though, right? Didn't Biden say that?
It was either Biden or Fauci, and I should remember the difference.
I think it was. I think it might have been Biden.
In that case, forget it.
Look, look, end of July, we can all go dancing again.
We can all go walk into the sunset and never look back.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope so. I think I'm pretty sure I had COVID already. So now doing the shelter in place thing, I just feel like I'm being lazy because I'm like, I can do whatever I want. I can go join a gym, I think, unless I get like the South African. But then I'm like, am I going to get the South African strain?
Yeah, I'm playing it safe because I feel like it's hard to get a clear read on what's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Do you think you've had it or?
No, I've been so fucking sequestered during this. Even like Nick, who is not really like, he's not running like a restaurant right now. He's building a restaurant. So he's in a space with like as many as 4 or 5 other people all doing manual labor. And I'm like, that's, you know, like a more concerning than anything I do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It depends on how scared you are. I'm in the elevator with people sometimes. And
have you been tested?
Like, no, because I haven't fucking been anywhere.
Yeah,
I just feel like it would be, I have felt fine. And it would be, I don't know, the line to get tested in my neighborhood stretches like 3 or 4 blocks by 8 a.m. every day. And then stays that long until they close. So
I guess if you ever needed to get tested, there is a rapid place in Williamsburg that Deb and I went to, but we paid like $200 each for the test, but there was no line or anything.
I think I would pay if I had like a reason. Like they were false negatives?
Yeah, they were false negatives.
Oh my. How do you know?
Because she tested positive like a couple weeks ago, and then she talked to somebody. She talked to some medical professional, and she was like, "Well, it's unlikely that you would like get sick and then get sick again. So when you guys were sick, 2 weeks ago, that was probably when you had COVID."
Wow.
Yeah.
What happens if you get COVID while you're pregnant? I bet they don't even know.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not, it's not too bad. The worst thing that happened was her mom called and yelled at her for getting it.
That always helps. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen, there's a YouTube video of somebody rounded up all the things people search about pregnancy, and it gets really fucking dumb. I've got to. Oh, yeah. Have you seen it? It's where it's like, am I pregnant? And it's like, am I pregnant? Am I pregat? Am I pregnant? Like, I gotta send you this.
Well, Deb's in a pregnancy Facebook group, and it's fucking wild. Like, she'll show me posts, and it's really crazy, like the stuff that you go through. And usually it's women being like, my boyfriend plays video games all day and jacks off 18 times. Every day.
Oh my God.
I don't know what to do. Like, he doesn't want to, I'm too sore to have sex, and I don't know. It's whenever, you hear people go like, oh, I hate when guys say we're pregnant, but this has, it affects your life a little bit. You got to jack off 18 times a day.
I mean, do you feel like your relationship has changed as this is all getting going?
It's just you have to step up a little bit more, and you have to do more stuff, because I'm not the one with a baby inside of me. So it's like, in the morning I'm the one who has to take the dogs out and make coffee, and if there's any, I'm just doing a little more, but it's fine. No complaints.
Good for you not being the jack off guy. Hold on. Oh fuck! There's an ad before this. Mike, I'm playing this. Can you hear this?
I can edit it in, I guess. I can't hear. No.
Oh shit!
I can hear your computer tapping, but.
Shit. Okay.
That's okay.
I'm sending you this link.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Before we wrap up, let's talk about. I had a bunch of. I'm glad I didn't have to get into this. Whatever, but Is it what is it? Is there sound in the video?
Sound, yes. Sound is important.
Okay. So, but it's like you can understand what the video is with just the sound.
Yeah, it's all Google searches full of typos on the word pregnant, and the guy whoever's reading it does a nice job. So
okay, nice.
Yeah. It's short. It's funny.
So before we wrap, I want to just talk a little bit about what you're watching on what you've seen on YouTube. I don't know. It's always a good. YouTube on the TV is probably my favorite streaming thing to watch. It's my go-to thing. There's a lot on there. So have you seen anything interesting on there recently?
I'm still on the ASMR kick. I am kind of off the K-pop shit for the moment.
Okay.
But our friend Emily Heller sent me a really great ASMR video where it's like you are a maiden in like Game of Thrones, and it's your servant taking off your jewelry and brushing out your hair and like getting you ready for bed. And this actress who does it, like, this is just someone on YouTube. It's not a major production, but it looks so nice. So
really?
I guess I'm a freak, and this is how I self-medicate these days. But
you sent me that Ting Ting video, the Chinese ASMR gal, and
what'd you think? I fucking love her.
I liked it a lot. Yeah, it was cool. I like the tapping, on the microphone.
Yeah.
I mean, she's obviously very good at that, because it definitely elicited like a response in me. I definitely felt something,
That's watching cool. You can do it.
She brushes the microphone. She must have the microphone volume turned up or something to get those sounds.
Is your mic a Yeti? Is that the kind of mic you use?
Yeah.
That's the same mic that the ASMR people use. So you could do it, and I think it would be hilarious if you
could do ASMR.
Yeah. I'm sure it's probably out there somewhere, like what settings you need to get it to like really pick up the all the little bits. But like if you've got good headphones and you listen to Ting Ting, I'm like drooling by a few minutes into it. So
yeah. And let me ask you this: how do you consume it? Like, do you just lay down and you watch it on your laptop or on your TV, or can you listen to it, or what's the best way to consume it?
I think the best way is probably like laying down on the couch, laptop, and good headphones. On the TV with TV speakers, the quality is slightly worse, but it's still nice, and it relaxes dogs also.
Does it?
Yeah, my dog will fully like start snoring if I put on ASMR videos. So it's pretty cute. And what else? I also, Ting Ting is on Spotify, and so I will listen to her sometimes when I can't sleep. Okay. She has ones that are just for sleep, where it's like 25 minutes of sounds to make you sleep, and they work.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you have to watch it, or can you listen to it too?
I initially needed to watch it because I was like, I couldn't fathom what the sounds were without seeing what she was holding and doing. And like, what's this tapping? Oh, when you see it's like cute little nails and she's like happy doing it, then whatever. But I've been listening to this shit for maybe like 3 or 4 months. And so now I can do without the visual aids and just sort of like space out. But nice. Yeah. That, and then we talked about very briefly the School of Life. That's a fun channel.
Yeah. That's a good. I didn't prepare or watch any videos, but that's a very good. Little videos that make you feel smart.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them too. There's videos on literature, because I started with the philosophy ones. There's literature, philosophy, history. There's I forget what the other ones are, but science, I guess. So
yeah, and then you can get to the ones that are like, why do I feel loneliness? Or whatever. The more vulnerable feeling ones.
Why am I horny all the time?
Well, Descartes once said. But yeah, that British accent, they're done so nicely for a channel that's free. I just feel like that's such a service. So
it's cool, yeah.
What's funny though is they have a physical location. The School of Life has an actual in-person like school in Melbourne, Australia. And when I was there for the comedy festival, I was like, ooh, I want to go to one of these School of Life classes. And Joe Firestone and I went, and it was so fucking sad and boring and expensive. So the YouTube videos are really where it's at.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess
it was just full of people. Yeah, and it's like, it's, you know, the zippy graphics and stuff, and you're not like sharing. It felt like an AA meeting for like a dozen people who don't know what to do with their lives. So the videos are the way to go.
Okay. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. There's a video on there was a video, just one that comes to mind was like on Machiavelli, and he kind of breaks down like Machiavellian theory and stuff, and then he like goes through history. And I guess there was some guy who like came into power in Florence by doing a bunch of reforms and had a bunch of social programs for peasants and stuff, and they ended up like quartering him. They took over and they killed him. And so he was like, you know, Machiavelli just understood that your enemies will always kind of like play dirty, so you have to also. So it's, you know, I don't know. This kind of stuff's very depressing. But there's a guy I'm watching, and I can't watch more than like 30 seconds of his videos because he's really annoying. His name is Cash Jordan, and which who would have thought a guy named Cash Jordan is obnoxious, but he's got a channel where he shows you New York City apartments. So I guess he's like a real estate agent. And so the apartment would be like, you know, $2,100 Chinatown. And you click on it because you're like, oh, wow, I want to see what this is. And then it'll be like $7,200 Tribeca apartment. So you see what different apartments cost. But the guy is so obnoxious that I can't. He's like a guy. He's like a younger. I don't know how to describe him, but he's like he's an annoying guy that you've encountered many times in your life, you know?
Yeah, real estate dudes are kind of. I was talking to Nick about this. He was like, real estate dudes are just dumber finance dudes.
yeah, and then they don't make as much money.
Yeah, he was like, tech dudes are nicer finance dudes or like nerdier finance dudes, and real estate guys are like as douchey as finance but dumber. I think that was his take. Yeah. But that sounds like a good channel. I mean, there's like such an obsession with like real estate listings right now. So why the fuck not?
Because prices are coming down and people want to see what they can. Yeah. So and then in the thumbnail he's really good at the thumbnails because it'll just be like, you know, Manhattan 40 floors up, $4,300, and it's him like pointing at the thing going like this, like. Oh no. Yeah,
he's got like little kissy faces.
He's doing little kissy faces, or he's like he's doing the soy face. If it says 1,700, and his videos are all in my like recommended $1,700 rent, 2-bedroom, Unreal, and he's doing the soy face.
Oh no!
So he's pretty good at like thumbnails.
Man, I feel like somebody's ears were burning at Gustiamo.com while we are talking because I just got an offer for a free can of tomatoes. It's like they know that I'm on a podcast with you right now.
Hey, impress Mike Racine with this can of tomatoes.
They're San Marzanos, free. Anyway,
yeah. And then
I'll check out Cash Jordan. That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, and then the last thing, but see how much of the video you can watch because it's just like, okay, you look at you go, okay, that's the apartment, but they're very well. He's good at getting you to click, and then I don't watch. I watched a video yesterday. The title of the video, it has 340,000 views. My obsession with wartime Yugoslav music.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And so like Slavic culture is very funny because I remember, you know, being a kid watching the news and there was the war in Bosnia. And then I went to Croatia a few years ago. So I find that area very interesting because it's very like sad, you know, but it's also it's very beautiful.
Yes.
You know, Croatia is like gorgeous, you know, Montenegro is really pretty. So And then the people are very interesting to me. So I watched this 13-minute video yesterday, and this guy is talking about how like Yugoslavia never really had these Slavic countries never really had their own identity because throughout history they were under the umbrella of like some other empire. So they don't really have like a lot of culture. Then Yugoslavia came together after World War II. It's the Yugoslavia is like, it means like United Slav. It's all the Slav countries coming together, forming their own country. So in like 1991, I think like Slovenia declared independence, and then Croatia declared independence, and then there was a war in Croatia. The Serbian president sent the Yugoslav army to fight. It's kind of boring. It's like not you like, I've done so much research on this, and I go, oh, what was that about? And it's not super interesting, I guess. But one thing I said was like they really wanted to have their own identity, so they made like, what they did was they made like techno music. they had like their own version of techno music, so they made all these like techno songs. And he broke down, the video is pretty interesting. He lists like different stars from that era who like made this techno stuff. And there was one guy that like made all these songs, and he said one song was just like, he just stole the riff from Satisfaction from the Rolling Stones. So he makes a song that's like doo, 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 doo. And it's like him singing in Slavic.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Fucking like a DJ Kaiser Soze fucking.
Yeah. Yeah. And then a lot of the
Kaiser
songs.
Soze was Hungarian, but that's close enough. I am also Hungarian, so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, my mom is from Hungary.
Have you been there?
Yes, and I really liked it there.
Yeah.
It's totally sad and weird, but also beautiful and interesting.
I would like to go. Yeah, I hear Budapest is really nice.
Super cool. Yeah.
But you can't be like, oh, everything's so cheap here, or they'll get insulted.
It's also not that cheap. Like I don't recall thinking anything was like a deal in Hungary. Okay. It was it's still Europe.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. But the other kind of fundamental thing about that area is that like everybody, so they were all united under Yugoslavia. The thing with these countries though, because you have Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Serbia, there's all these different ethnic groups, and they all live within the different countries, Mm-hmm. So like Serbia has Bosnian minorities, and then like there's a lot of Serbs living in Bosnia. So they all like hate each other for some reason. So a lot of the songs they make are just like, Bosnians are dogs. We're going to blow up all the mosques.
What? That's in the songs?
Yeah. Oh,
That's insane.
Yeah,
you got to play your people a clip of that. I can't imagine.
Okay. I'll play it at the end. We'll go out with it. But there's a song where it's like, oh, they're like making fun of Bosnians for not having any food.
I wonder if this is sort of like how Boston people hate the Yankees, like that kind of thing. If it's like a regional beef, or if it's like, anyway.
Yeah.
Bosnian people have no food, you were saying?
They hate each other. So they hate each other, and they just make songs about killing each other. Which is pretty funny.
Cute, charming. That's a very Slavic. See, it's like roasting, I guess. It's a Slavic form of affection.
Yeah.
To threaten your neighbors and insult their surplus.
Yeah, I think I might. That would be, if I have some free time, I'm going to go down this rabbit hole where I discover this music, because it's interesting. It's interesting seeing people who like they're all at war. So a lot of them are like wearing military fatigues in the music videos that they make, and they're just like singing about how they're going to kill the Serbs.
The whole video is like dash cam footage, driving through wasteland. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I will tune into future episodes to hear your selections from this genre.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe more for next time.
That sounds cool.
Cool. Well, Emmy, it was a pleasure. These 4 episodes, I feel like, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
Did too.
I hope they did too. I haven't really seen any feedback, but what are you going to do? I don't even want it. You know what? I don't care. Yeah. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm grateful. It was a beautiful run.
You could look at YouTube comments if you want, but because all the episodes get. No, I know.
YouTube comments are like a form of cutting to read those, but you know, we'll see. Maybe I'll get bored enough and I'll find some guy with a Batman avatar saying I sound like a dog or whatever.
Right. Well,
anyway, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you again.
Mike.
You want to plug anything?
Nah, that's okay.
All right. Well, I'll see you around, hopefully. Take care of yourself. I hope you get the vaccine.
Take us out with some thank you, bud. Same to you.
And, take care.
Sweet.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okrenuti švagu, oj, alija, aljo, primi hladan duš, u vrh ti se smije tvoj prijatelj Buš. Oj, alija, alija, muslimanski izrode, prevešće te tuđman, ženom preko vode. Oj, alija, aljo, male su ti meće, da si oslusanala, bile bi još veće. Nema više turskih pita od bosanskog zlatnog žita. Oj, alija, alija, ljud si na nas strašno, što ne može Srbina prodati za brašno. Oj, alija, aljo, šta će tebi grana, koliko bolan misliš, ima Ramazana. Oj, alija, alija, izgubit ćeš čas, kad ti Tuđman ovce uzme, a pošalje mas. Oj, alija, aljo, tebi nešto pali, misliš da si veliki, a tako si mali. Nema više turskih pita od bosanskog zlatnog žita. Oj, alija, alija, imaš grdu manu, što si babo izabrao skroz pogrešnu stranu. Oj, alija, aljo, šta ćeš bolan sada, izdala te izdala Tuđmanova garda. Oj, alija, alija, i mi smo te zvali, al si htio da postaneš ti veliki Ali. Oj, alija, aljo, možda nisi znao, visoko si poletio, al nisko si pao. Nema više turskih pita od bosanskog zlatnog žita.